Hello, everyone, and welcome to the finals of the One Piece trading card game Knoxville Regional hosted by PPG. We have Zoro in the higher seat versus Newgate. So, Zoro versus Whitebeard, red versus red. Red will be winning the event. We're going to see Newgate mulligan the hand back. Zoro going to go ahead and keep the hand. So this will be an interesting match. This is certainly a match that we've seen time and again at this, where you have Zoro who just naturally swings 6k against Whitebeard. So you do get the opportunity to still pressure the leader, even though he is a 6 instead of a 5. But you are going to see certain cards not be as impactful, such as the buggy, for example. The buggy just is going to require a little bit more gas behind it, maybe like a Makino or the Magra that we saw in the last one. Because for one Don to be a 5 with your leader effect, not enough. You're going to need a 2 Don investment for that 1-drop buggy. Your 1-drops all require a little bit extra investment, and that makes it a little bit different. Your math is a little different now. You still are an aggressive deck, but and your opponent still takes their own life. But your math is a little different, so your curve ends up being just a little different.
Your judge is waiting for you at the main stage. Winner box 78.
So we're gonna see Zoro drop an Ezo at a Marco, Whitebeard. Where was my Ezo? Can I borrow your Ezo, please, Zoro? And Zoro's like, no, but I have another one. And this one's gonna go ahead and grab the Blamenco. I tell you, after this, I will not forget this card. Had to say it so many times at this point. All right, Zoro double Ezo going second. Just very, very strong all around open. We're gonna have 7k come across the table, and Zoro will be taking that. And then Whitebeard's gonna go ahead and pass and go to 4. Zoro is not sad about that at all. Damage is being done one way or the other. Zoro has a few options here. 4 Dawn turn, we could see all manner of 1-drops come down. We're not quite at the Marco yet. That'll probably be what happens next turn. So for this one, we've just got a 6k swing from the Zoro. And then we might put 3 Dawn on one of these Ezos to attack. Whitebeard goes ahead and takes it. Looks like we're going to be playing some cards. Another Ezo. My goodness, just showing Whitebeard how you draw Ezo. Looks like we're considering a Fire Fist here. I think there might be a Marco in there as well. Okay. And we are going to go ahead and grab, looks like 4-drop Marco. Now we've got 4-drop and 5-drop Marcos. Do we have a 4th Ezo? I thought we might there for a second. This is a very, very good play here. This Blamenco has this Dawn 1 when attacking, give something -2. So we know about the Marco in hand because the Ezo added it. You can use that in combination with this Blamenco as a way to remove a 5k. But you know what, Whitebeard says, I don't need an Ezo to find my Marco. I have a Marco already. So we're going to go ahead and just put that Dawn on Zoro instead and swing 6. Whitebeard's going to counter out. No real worries there. And we're just going to slam a Marco of our own and pass. We see the Luffy Vanilla. This is probably more of a Strawbeard variant compared to the Whitebeard we saw earlier. Marco on both sides of the table. And Whitebeard's just going to think about things for a little bit. There is no time limit on this one. This is the finals, and finals are untimed, so players are encouraged to take their time and think about their plays. And we're going to go ahead and go 7k at the leader. That'll be a damage. 7k, of course, also plays around the jet pistol that might be in life. We're going to see 7k more. Zoro's already down to 2 life. Whitebeard's down to 1 life at the end of the turn. Okay, we're going to see 4 Don. Are we going to see Atmos come down? Or Frankie? Or Speedy Jill? They're all very similar cards. This is the Whitebeard version, so it makes sense that it's a Frankie. So Whitebeard just sort of doing what Whitebeard wants to do in this matchup. Just play big dudes. Pressure Zoro. It can be hard for Zoro to respond to the cards like this Frankie on the turn it's played. It's got a decent chance of being able to attack unless Zoro wants to jet pistol it. Or we're gonna see 6 go after the Marco. Very interesting. So the Marco can trash an event card to revive itself. Now its effect won't trigger. It's only on your turn when it gets to KO one of your opponent's smaller cards, but we're actually going to see Marco get protected. So Whitebeard either doesn't have any events, or the events in Whitebeard's hand are just too valuable. The Frankie is much less valuable than whatever events may be in his hand. So Zoro might want to try again with the Marco. The problem is that the chopper is in the way. Lots of things to consider here. Zoro also has the Marco blocker that he may want to maintain Don for. Alright, so we're going to go to Curly to Don. Almost whiffed, but instead got an Otama. Again, your Don math and your curve is just a little different. In against normal decks, it would be 2 Don apiece on these Ezos to make them threats, but against Whitebeard, it's 3 Don apiece. So they kind of just sit there not being threats for a good chunk of the game. And we're probably going to see one get replaced. Yep. So we're going to exchange that Ezo for the blocker Marco and pass the turn. Zoro is at low enough life to use the effect of the blocker Marco, so it would be able to revive itself. It comes back in rest mode, but still can come back.
Last call for Buddy Battle. If you are interested, please come up front to side event check-in. Last call for Buddy Battle.
All right, we're going to play around Jet Pistol. It's not going down like that, is what Whitebeard says. We're going to go 7 more. Go to 7 and 8. Another Blamenko. Multiples. And we're going to see a Nami come down. Nami will peep top 5, see if we can maybe find another vanilla, maybe find a guard point. Plenty of possibilities. Maybe find a chopper. Chopper might be pretty good here. Newgate will be dropping to 0 life this turn. There is no path to the 9 drop, so that is something to consider. Now, Newgate is very, very good at blocking tall. And speaking of blocking tall, there is a guard point to help with that. We're just gonna go 6. 6 at the leader, I'm guessing. And we could block and then drop a Whitebeard 1k as a way to protect ourselves. Or we can use a 2k to counter out. So we're gonna block, and then we're gonna just discard a Whitebeard card to protect it. Which makes sense. That turned that 1k into a 2k. We're gonna see another Nami come down. And we're gonna grab the Radical Beam. That was a very quick grab. Didn't need to think about that. Maybe there was only one target, or maybe it was the best target. Whitebeard just building up the defenses, putting a chopper down as well, and then leader effect will drop him to 0. All right, we are at Zoro's 10 Dawn turn. Two options at hand for Zoro. Many of them involve attaching a Dawn to the leader, of course. But really the questions become, what are you attacking? Go after the Frankie? Do you go after the Marco? Or do you try to go after your opponent's leader? You could go across the table for 15 with your leader, and you know your opponent's leader is at least a 13 because you saw the guard point and you saw the radical beam. And then after you do that, you have a 7k and a 6k to try to close the game out. Obviously, the chopper is in the way as well. So none of these are things that you can do. First thing first is going to have to be getting around the chopper. And so I think the best way to do that is to probably just swing low. And we're just going to go ahead and counter out. We're going to put a little bit behind this Marco. We're going to go 8k. This might be met with a chopper because we're starting to get to that threshold. Again, the leader is... Okay, we're just going to use a guard point. That makes sense too. So now you know your opponent's leader is at least a 10k. Chopper is still in the way, and you don't really want to attack with your blocker if you can avoid it. And Izo requires 3 Dawn to be an attacker. So we're just going to put a little extra Dawn on our Zoro.
Can I get a judge runner up to the front, please?
And we're going to go 8 on the leader. And here comes the Red Hawk. Red Hawk comes down, clears. You can't clear the Dawn, so it's going to clear one of the Izos. Now Zoro has 4 Dawn left. Still hasn't gotten through the chopper, still hasn't gotten through the radical beam, still hasn't gotten through the rest of the cards in Newgate's hand. So we're gonna play Magra. Go ahead and buff the Izo and swing.
Winner box number 79 to the main
We're just gonna
stage.
counter out with a Marco.
Winner box number 79 to the main stage.
And then we're gonna replace the Izo with a buggy. This buggy needs to do a few things. It needs to add an event card that can defend you. Red Hawk is a good one, but you really wanted a 1 Dawn red card there.
Your pairings are live on the Best Coast Pairing
The
site.
Red Hawk is
Please take
very...
your seats. Starting seat will be at 144.
Red Hawk is very powerful here if you can use it to clear the chopper, but the problem is then you are tapped out, and it might not end well. We'll see. Whitebeard has 3 attackers and 2 more Namis who could potentially become attackers.
We are still looking for participants for winner box number 79.
The,
Please come to the front of the PPG booth.
the only way to protect the chopper from the Red Hawk is to put 4 Dawn on it, which he could do. If he doesn't have anything else to really do with the Dawn and just wants to whittle down Zoro's hand, then it's perfectly reasonable to put 4 of it on the chopper just to keep it alive. Certainly a big think here.
Once again, just a reminder, pairings for Buddy Battle side event are on the Best Coast Pairings website. Please take a look and take a
All
seat.
right, Whitebeard's got a lot of options. The Red Hawk really does complicate the turn a little bit because he doesn't want to lose the chopper, but he also probably doesn't want to put 4 Dawn on it to prevent losing the chopper, and definitely doesn't want to just pass. So we're going to put 1 on the Marco, we're going to put 1 on the Frankie to play around the jet pistol, and we're just going to accept the Red Hawk here. I'm going to go ahead and not even use the Red Hawk. Again, it just seems like a trap. It definitely seems like a trap. So now Marco just ripped 2 cards out of Zoro's hand. We still have the 2 Dawn up to threaten the Red Hawk. Only 4 cards left in Zoro's hand, and we know one of them is Red Hawk. Newgate is just trying to navigate this turn very, very carefully, because if he doesn't, then he could potentially lose on the crackback. And we see the 4 Dawn going on the Chopper. Now Chopper cannot go down with the Red Hawk. Newgate says, okay, fair enough. You didn't want, and we're going to go ahead and take a Dawn out. Fair enough. You didn't want to take the Red Hawk opportunity that I gave you? Okay. Now you don't get one. And we're just going to go 6 at Marco. The 4 Dawn on Chopper, signaling that Whitebeard doesn't expect to win the game this turn. We might just see the Red Hawk, yeah, just to get it, just to use it while we have the available Dawn. And we'll go 7 on the Marco. And we will revive, getting rid of the Radical Beam. Putting a lot of value in that Marco still on the board. It makes sense, it does. Though you hate to see the Radical Beam go. Zoro probably did not have a Whitebeard card in hand to just rescue the other Marco. Alright, 3 Dawn left up. You know 1 Radical Beam is in hand. Your opponent is at least a 10, but with the 2 extra Dawn up, you can assume they're a 16. Again, you have the ability to go completely 16 across the table, but the chopper is in the way. You could try to go for board. Ooh, okay, we see Vista come down. So we have removed the chopper, and now it is time to Do some Don math. Okay, so we have 3 Don on the leader, 1 Don on the buggy, and we're going to go 8 across the table at Newgate. Probably just gets met with a guard point. Zoro probably hoping that a radical beam falls out of the hand here instead of a guard point. But with 3 Don left up, it doesn't seem too likely. Gonna have to big think here for a second from the Newgate. And then we're gonna see a Red Hawk come down instead. And we're clearing the 1 drop instead of the Vista. We see Buggy's a 5k, so it couldn't die to a Red Hawk, but Vista's only a 4. And Magra's only a 3, but Magra is a 1 drop who can also attack this turn. So it makes a lot of sense. Okay. We see 6 go across to the leader. 2k. Magra's going to buff the Buggy, and here we go. All in. That's... wow. And it is enough. Buggy comes across the table, the Clown Prince of Crime himself, to steal the win away from Whitebeard. Moving on to game 2, Zoro taking game 1. Impressive back and forth there. Both players being very careful. The 1 Don on the Buggy so that it couldn't go down to the Red Hawk. The Don that we saw on the 6K so they couldn't go down to a jet pistol. Both of these players are very clearly experienced playing against, at the very least playing against Red. They're obviously very experienced playing in general up here at the finals. And so we're seeing very high level play right now. Both players playing to win. They're both doing well, sequencing everything. Master level gameplay for sure. They're going to go ahead and shuffle up. While we're waiting, just to remind those who are just tuning in, we are currently watching the finals of the One Piece trading card game Knoxville Regional hosted by PPG. We started yesterday at 648 players, playing 9 rounds until the top 32 players were decided. Then we came back today and we played out all top cut from top 32 down to these 2 individuals, playing to decide what is better, Zoro or Whitebeard? Who is the better red deck? We are moving into game 2. Zoro took game 1 with a Buggy buffed by a Magra, a leader effect, and a few Don. Alright, so Newgate gets to choose and most likely is going to go ahead and go second here. Again, Zoro is a deck that doesn't really mind going first or second. Likes to go second if possible, but really doesn't mind it going first. So many 1-drops in the deck. So many searchers. We see Buggies, we see Ezos. And Zoro just snap keeping the hand. Don't really require a moment of consideration. Same thing with Whitebeard. So it looks like we are in for an excellent game 2 here. I believe this might be a Nami. Very nice. So Whitebeard gets to open with the Searcher this time. It's definitely funny to see Whitebeard playing Nami and Zoro playing Ezo. Not sure what's going on right now. Okay, we're going to add a radical beam. Okay, anyway, so Nami searches the radical beam and then passes turn. Zoro's going to play an Ezo. Both players get to see their searchers. Looks like we're going to grab a Marco. I think I've seen this one before. It's very interesting Whitebeard deciding to go first after winning that one. Zoro seeing double Ezo again. My goodness. Wow, this is exactly what happened game one. We saw the first Ezo get a Marco and the second Ezo get a Blamenko. And you know what? Nami's going to get in there. We see 5 come across the table here. Then we see 6 come across the table. I'm going to go ahead and, I believe that's a Makino, counter out of it. And then Sora's going to go to 4 Dan. So last time we saw 1 Dan on the leader. Okay, this time the Ezo has a target to attack. We might see the Blamenko come down. Gonna go 6 at the lead.
12 p.m. chopper event. That is time of the round. Please start end of round procedures.
And we're gonna go ahead and take that. We're gonna pay 1 for, is this a third Ezo? No, okay. Ooh, alright. You know what, this time, Zoro's chosen violence. Magura, 2 Dan, leader effect. That's an 8. 8 is good enough. Alright, so Whitebeard's on 5 Dan and going to be 1 life by the end of this turn. Zoro has definitely assigned himself the role of aggressor. Whitebeard could use this as a chance to establish a vanilla, but not sure that it's going to get him very far at the moment. Instead, we're going to establish a Rusher Luffy. Zoro's not going to take that, but that is another Makino gone. The 1 Don's still on the leader. Gonna go ahead and remove that too. There we go. And now there's a few things to think about. We can use this as a turn to establish Marco. Attacking the Whitebeard leader here really doesn't accomplish anything because the Whitebeard leader is just going to drop to 0 anyway. So if you are going to attack, I think that the Luffy is the thing you're going to attack. And yeah, we see Gordon come down. Go ahead and shrink that Luffy by 3. And then we're going to take him out. And then we're going to go ahead and play Marco. Okay, so we have 5 Don left. And here comes the Marco. Ultimately, the hope there was that Whitebeard would forget the Marco was in hand and try to defend the Luffy.
12 p.m. chopper.
But
Every round 4 pairings
there's
are
no way
posted.
that you do that there.
Please take a good look at Best Coast pairings and take a seat.
So again, there was no reason for Zoro to attack Whitebeard's leader because he wasn't going to be able to win the game that turn anyway, and Whitebeard will put himself to 0. The damage that Zoro could have done will be done anyway, so it was better to swing on the Luffy. Okay, we're gonna see 4. Are we gonna have a vanilla come down? We sure are. There's Frankie. And we have double chopper. So, yep, Whitebeard drops to 0 life and prepares himself well with 2 choppers. Plenty of cotton candy to go around. Alright, Zoro's going to go ahead and put the Dawn on the leader. And then we are going to Fire Fist. You know what? No more choppers. Again, Zoro has assigned himself the role of the aggressor in this game too, and definitely is playing that role very well. Whitebeard's probably going to want a guard point out of this, but we do know that Whitebeard has the Radical Beam in hand, and if the Radical Beam drops here, it tells us there are no guard points in hand. We still have Marco, who's going to swing too, and we're going to Radical Beam. Okay, well, here we go, 8. Ain't it great? That's going to be 2K and something else, please. Uh-oh. That's a 1K Thatch. Are we about to lose? No, okay, we do have a 2K. I was going to say, are we about to lose 3 cards from our hand? That was really good. That Fire Fist there, clearing both choppers, really put Whitebeard on the back foot because Whitebeard would tap out to defend just the Zoro. So you give yourself the best opportunity. You capitalize on your opponent's slower defensive turn.
12 p.m. chopper event open
And
around
now
4. You may begin.
Now you have 1 Dawn up, so you can defend yourself with a guard point or a
Can I get a
radical beam if you
judgment
have one. You're
for
at
the
2
main
life too.
stage?
And it's probably not even your life that you're
Can I
defending this turn.
get all players from window box number 80 to the main stage? Window box number 80.
So you've got, I don't know. This is an uphill battle for Whitebeard for sure. Again, Zoro assigned himself the role of aggressor, and he has been playing that role very well. Losing both of those choppers, Whitebeard might not have any more. All right, we're going to just see 7. Looks like 7 going across the table. We're going to, I'm assuming that's a guard point. It is difficult to tell with the glare. But it was a 1 cost extra. It is a guard point, yes. Zoro is aware that Whitebeard plays rushers. We saw the Luffy earlier in this game. So he's not going to put himself in a position where he just loses to a Luffy. Zoro does not intend to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory here. And we're not going to allow that Marco to go down either. That looks like a pre-release Balmenko. We're taking Izo out with this Marco and leave 3 Don up. We might just be bluffing guard points at this point. I think Zoro definitely has the look in his eyes to go for game this turn. Three guard points puts Newgate at a 15. You can go, definitely want to put one on your leader. And then you could just go 15 across the table at the leader, or you can kind of spread this out. I don't know how many cards Whitebeard has in hand. So, all right. Now we just start putting Don on stuff. Do we put 3 on an Izo and swing? Do we put 3 on a Magra and swing? Do we just put these on something else? It looks like we might just be putting these on something else. Yep, 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 yep. That is a whole 10 coming across the table. Better have a guard point. All right, Red Hawk, Marco goes to 11. We only have 1 Don left. I think you probably just put everything but your defense Don on your Marco. Marco's already a 7. This would be an 11. So it's going to take a 2K and a guard point and 1 more card. There you go. We're just going to pass. I don't know that Whitebeard has anything left. I cannot tell. No, Whitebeard does. Whitebeard has a couple cards left.
10 a.m. chopper.
All
That
right.
is time
Zoro has no
around.
blockers,
These are end of
so
round procedures.
now
Turn
it's
players, turn zero.
it's just time. It's time for Whitebeard to do the math. What kind of attacks do I have? I have three 6Ks on the board. 10 Dawn, I can do 9, 9, and 10. 9, 9, and 10 are pretty good numbers, but if a single attack fails, then the game is over. So we're going to go 7. This will probably just be met with a guard point. Zoro has to know that taking this hit puts him in a very bad position, because the next one's only going to be bigger. Three cards left in Whitebeard's hand. If Zoro chooses to take this, then we can see a 10 and an 11 come across the board.
12 p.m.
Zoro will
chopper.
choose to take
That is
this.
5 minutes into the round. If you do not have an opponent this time, please raise your hand and call for a judge.
Okay, Zoro chose to take it. We're going to see Whitebeard just considering another 7. Maybe an 8. I think 8 is definitely the minimum that you want to swing here because of guard point.
10 a.m. chopper. Your final standings are on live on Best Coast Pairings. When you're all set, can I get top 8 to the front?
So if you put this 3 Dawn on Marco, it's a 10, and then you have an 11. If your opponent can get out of one of those attacks again, you do lose the game. But with only 3 cards in hand, you might not have the chance to make it another turn anyway. So you might just be at the point of the game where you look at your opponent and you say, gotta have it. Right now, I think Newgate is just trying to consider how much Dawn can I get away with. Okay, we're going to see a 7. This is absolutely met with a guard point. There is no shot that you do not guard point that one. Then we're going to see a 7, and we have 5 Dawn set aside. So if you can get out of this one, you should, because Luffy would be an 8. Gonna go ahead and take it, and then we have Ace, who's also an 8. Nope, Ace is just a 7. And there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion, your winner, first place, Zoro. Anthony taking home the victory.
Once again, 10 a.m. chopper.
Wow,
Please
what
call
a
for and please identify the
spectacular
member top 8
set
so the
of
judge will
games that
clear
we
the
just
vote.
watched. Zoro decided in game 2 to be the aggressor and really took advantage of it. Whitebeard letting Zoro go second, really giving Zoro the ability to play double Ezo, but the ability to curve out well and just really choose the aggression. And it worked surprisingly well. The moment that it felt like the game was lost for Newgate was when the Fire Fist came down, the card that we still have on the screen there. The Fire Fist comes down, clears both of the choppers, and that's pretty much where it goes. Newgate still did have an opportunity, though.
Congratulations
Wow.
to our Knoxville
Absolutely.
Regional Champion, Anthony, with his Zoro deck. Congratulations!
They're announcing it now there in the background. Really, a
Thank you for everyone coming
spectacular.
out tonight. You are
My
obviously
goodness.
here, free to stay until 11. We will be running events all day long, and our next major event tour stop will be in Greenville, South Carolina, for the 3v3 Cup. We hope to see you there.
Yep. So there you have it, folks. Zoro ends up winning out of 648 players. One Zoro makes it into top 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and ultimately the king of the pirates, Zoro himself. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for being here with us. We got to see a lot of very interesting matches over the course of this weekend. We got to showcase a lot of very cool new set 4 decks, and we got to see a lot of high level, exceptional gameplay throughout this entire event. It has been my absolute pleasure to be your commentator. I hope to see you again at the next one. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.